Leonard Mack was exonerated today, nearly 5 decades after he was wrongfully convicted of going after a woman and 2 counts of criminal possession of a weapon in March of 1976. New DNA testing of crime scene evidence found in a post-conviction investigation by the Innocence Project and the Westchester County District Attorney Conviction Review Unit proved that Mr. Mack did not commit the crime. Mr. Mack's wrongful conviction is the longest to be overturned based on new DNA evidence known to the Innocence Project. The DNA profile developed from the evidence was uploaded to the state and local DNA database and yielded a hit. The actual assailant identified by this since the search confessed later to the crimes. Contains virtually every common contributing factor in wrongful convictions. Eyewitness misidentification, the leading cause of wrongful convictions, play a central role in addition to misleading forensic testimony presented by the state's forensic analysis at trial, racial bias, and also tunnel vision. Despite ad-lib witness and seriological evidence from the victim's underwear that excluded Mr. Mack in 1976, he spent 7.5 years in prison and has since lived with his wrongful conviction for 41 years. Quote, today, indisputable DNA evidence proves that Leonard Mack is innocent. Nearly 5 decades later, he finally has some measure of justice. Mr. Mack's resilience and strength is why this day has finally come. Catherine Smith, who is one of Mr. Mack's Innocence Project's attorney, continued to state that we want to thank the Westchester County District Attorneys and its Convictions Review Unit for their cooperation and commitment to search for the truth. Mr. Mack later stated, I want to first thank God for this day. Next, I want to thank the Innocence Project. Today has been a long time coming. I lost 7.5 years of my life in prison for a crime I did not commit, and I have lived with this injustice hanging over my head for almost 50 years. It changed the course of my life, everything from where I lived to my relationship with my family. I never lost hope that one day that I would be proven innocent. Now the truth has come to light and I can finally breathe. I am free. Westchester County District Attorney Miriam E. Roca stated, quote, today we are asking the court to find Leonard Mack actually innocent for going after a woman that he never went after, for which he unjustly served more than 7 years in prison. We were able to prove Mr. Mack's innocence in large part due to our independent convictions review unit commitment and Mr. Mack's unwavering strength fighting to clear his name for almost 50 years. This exoneration and the new DNA evidence confirm that wrongful convictions are not only harmful to the wrongfully convicted, but also makes us all less safe. And, the craziest thing is that, every time I read stories like this, I can start feeling the heat coming directly from my eyes because, it's madness, knowing the fact that they can just lie directly on you. In the article itself, it stated that Mr. Mack is also a military veteran, right? They stated that Mr. Mack is a Vietnam War veteran and has lived with his wife in South Carolina for nearly 21 years. You had this man for 50 years of his life. You had this man since the 1970s. You knew for a fact that this man did not commit the crime, and you allowed a whole other man to walk free and to continue to act in the exact same manner that he's always been doing. And he has to sit there and now just suffer with this. He has to deal with all of the things that he's probably maybe had to survive or duck and dodge or witness while he had his stint for 50 years in prison. And you will still have some people say that, oh, well, he might be innocent here, but he's probably guilty somewhere else. It's probably another crime that, we just don't know about. Right? You'll have a lot of people that will say something like that. And what about all of those people that were more than likely speaking ill or negatively on his name? What about all of those people that turned a blind eye or turned their back directly on Mr. Mack because they believed what it was that the police and the state presented? Now, I'm just going to say a lot of people have stated that, you should always forgive, right? Forgive those and Yada, yada, yada. I don't just, I'm going to go from my personal view. There is not a heart big enough to forgive people that literally turned their backs and spoke ill of your name while you basically had to fight for your life. You know, some of these people were more than likely friends, family, or whoever. And I'm pretty sure you have a lot of people out there over those decades that spoke ill on this man's name, or some of them that just completely turned their backs because, again, they believed what it was that the court systems presented. But this is just further proof that you can never really believe the court systems because they lie. They forge evidence. The police lie. The attorneys lie. The forensic state scientists lie. And they all did this just to go against an innocent black man who served this country. And this is another reason why I simply state that when it deals with the, serving of the country, like I said, shout out to the ones that did it. Shout out to the ones that are doing it at this moment in time. But I've stated to people before that that's realistically at this moment something that black people should not be doing. And this is why. You got a military vet that was stated to have done something that he did not do. And look at how he was prosecuted. Look at how he was treated. Look at how his life was wasted because of the fabrications of the system that is supposed to be working. This is what justice looks like. But it's only just for certain people. And as you see, 50 years ago, wasn't that for Mr. Mack? It took for a whole nother group of people to come through, look through a whole bunch of names and just pick Mr. Mack, be like, hey, this looks interesting. Maybe we could, try this out. Maybe we can look into this. Maybe we can actually find something here. And luckily they did. Luckily they ran across his name before his time ran out. Luckily, Mr. Mack is able to breathe fresh, clean air. He's able to feel the sun on his skin. He's able to just hear the vibrations of, the cars and everything else that's happening. This man has to now get used to a brand new world. He's been gone for 50 years, for a whole 50 years. And now because he was robbed, it's going to pretty much take him more than another half of a century in order to get used to everything of now and what's going to happen in the future. But again, he doesn't have that type of time. Again, the man went in there able-bodied. He had 2 legs and everything. And now he came out walking with a cane. So again, this man probably needs a lot of therapy, probably needs a lot of time. He needs a lot of rest because he's still more than likely in that mental shape of having somebody tell him, what to do, when to do it, lights off at this time. Like I said, it's a lot. And a lot of people don't actually understand what this can actually do to a man, how this type of environment can break down a man mentally to nothing. And now he has to try to find a way to build himself back up to the man that he used to be. So, prayers to Mr. Mack. Much love, respect, and appreciation for, your service to this country. And, I'm deeply sorry that this happened to you. I'm deeply sorry that you were robbed, just like many other black men out here, of their energy, of their life force, of their youth. Also that this country that you served could rob you so that they can steal from you, so that they can take from you without having to give you anything back in return.